Imagine a place where the world of the living and the dead are separated by nothing more than a small opening in the rock. In the ancient city of Hierapolis, in what is now modern-day Turkey, such a place existed. This place was the Plutonian, better known as Pluto's Gate. It was a real sanctuary where any animal that crossed the threshold dropped dead within seconds, as if the god of the underworld himself claimed it with an invisible breath. Today we're going to travel back in time to understand how this portal to hell became one of the strangest and most dangerous spectacles of the Roman Empire. Let's get started. To understand this, we have to stand in the ruins of Hierapolis, an ancient city built just above what is now Pamukkale, Turkey. You've probably seen photos of its white travertine terraces and bright turquoise thermal pools. Right there among those formations stood the Temple of Pluto. This location was no coincidence. The ancient Greeks and Romans were known for identifying unusual natural phenomena and declaring them sacred, and this site was one of the strangest. The Plutonian was a shrine dedicated to Pluto, the god of the underworld, and his wife Persephone. But it wasn't a typical temple with grand columns and statues. It originated in the Hellenistic period and was built around a small natural cave that constantly emitted vapors. The ancients believed these mists were the poisonous breath of Pluto, physical proof that the realm of the dead lay beneath the earth. Ancient writers, including the Greek geographer Strabo, described the site with awe and fear. Strabo wrote that the space was filled with a dense vapor, so thick that visibility was limited, and that any living creature entering it died instantly. He described it almost like a theater of death. Animals such as bulls would collapse immediately, as if life had been cut off in an instant. Over time, due to earthquakes and the rise of Christianity, the site was buried and forgotten. For centuries, Pluto's Gate was considered more legend than reality, possibly an exaggeration by ancient writers to add mystique to the city. What made Pluto's Gate famous across the Mediterranean was the spectacle that took place there. In the ancient world, religion wasn't just believed, it was experienced. The site was designed almost like a small theatre. In front of the cave entrance, a tiered viewing area allowed people to watch what they believed were miracles, but were actually ritual demonstrations. Priests would release birds toward the cave. Mid-flight, the birds would suddenly collapse and fall dead before hitting the ground. The main spectacle involved larger animals, like bulls. Without any visible force, they would begin to stagger and collapse as they approached the entrance. To a Roman observer, this was undeniable proof. Pluto was present and his domain was lethal. The area was described as heavy and eerie, with a noticeable heat and a strong smell, likely sulfurous gases. Some believed the site also had prophetic powers. A ritual known as incubation took place nearby, where people slept near the sacred springs, hoping for dreams or visions. They believed that being close to the underworld allowed spirits or gods to communicate with them. Access to the cave itself, however, was strictly restricted. Only priests were allowed inside, reinforcing the mystery and fear surrounding it. Perhaps the most puzzling aspect of the Plutonian was that while animals died instantly, the priests appeared unaffected. To ancient visitors, this was proof of divine protection. During rituals, priests would guide pilgrims and perform demonstrations, releasing animals into the deadly vapors where they quickly died. Then, astonishingly, the priests themselves would walk near the same area, even approaching the cave without harm. This reinforced the belief that they were chosen intermediaries between humans and the gods. Visitors, amazed by what they had witnessed, left offerings, making the site both a religious center and a source of wealth. Some ancient observers suspected trickery. They suggested the priests might understand the environment, perhaps knowing when it was safe to approach. But for centuries, no one could explain how they survived when others died. Nearly 2,000 years later, science finally explained the mystery. The region of Pamukkale sits on active geological fault lines, which allow gases from underground to escape to the surface. One of these gases is carbon dioxide, CO2. CO2 has a key property. It is heavier than air. Instead of rising, it sinks and accumulates close to the ground, forming what scientists describe as an invisible lake of gas. At the Plutonian, the cave emitted high concentrations of CO2 continuously. Near ground level, the gas was lethal. Animals, especially smaller ones or those with their heads close to the ground, would inhale the gas, which displaced oxygen in their bodies, leading to rapid unconsciousness and death. This explains the ancient accounts perfectly. And it also explains the priests. Studies have shown that CO2 concentration decreases rapidly with height. Just a few inches above the ground, levels could be deadly, but higher up, at the level of an adult's head, the air could be breathable. By carefully controlling their position and timing, priests could avoid lethal exposure. Even more interesting, CO2 levels were highest at dawn and early morning, when cooler air trapped the gas near the ground. It's likely that priests learned these patterns through observation and experience, allowing them to perform their rituals safely. For centuries, the Plutonian remained lost. That changed in 2013, when an archaeologist team led by Italian archaeologist Francesco D'Andrea rediscovered the site in Hierapolis. They found a structure matching ancient descriptions, a temple built in front of a cave emitting gas. Even more astonishing, the phenomenon was still active. Researchers observed dead insects and small animals near the opening, just as ancient writers had described. Scientific measurements confirmed extremely high concentrations of carbon dioxide near the ground, strong enough to kill small animals within minutes. The discovery proved that the ancient accounts were not myths or exaggerations, but accurate observations of a dangerous natural phenomenon. In ancient times, people traveled to Hierapolis not only for its healing waters, but also for the eerie spectacle of Pluto's Gate. They paid to witness death firsthand, to see proof that the underworld existed. Today, the site is no longer feared, but studied. It stands as a powerful example of how ancient civilizations interpreted natural phenomena through religion, and how science can eventually reveal the truth behind even the most mysterious legends.